Danny Alias is an American house music artist and playwright. In 1984, he co-founded Persona Records with David Bell and released the single Civil Defense, an early example of Chicago house music, which was played by DJ Ron Hardy. The label went on to release the first two singles by Jimmy Principle and Frankie Knuckles, Waiting on My Angel and Your Love. He's still at it, and he wants to talk about his newest project, Bed Bug Love. Danny, come on in.
Hey, Amber.
I like Danny. That's Dwayne Scott Cerny.
Danny Alias, Dwayne Scott Cerny.
Oh, man. Russell, they're screwing with me.
In the best of ways, Amber.
All right.
That introduction was wonderful.
So 1984.
Yes. So in the 1980s, I had a small record label, and what people now say that it was one of the first house music labels, or the first house music label. I think it was one of the first, but it might have been the first. And that kind of launched us on a whole musical adventure for a number of years. And signing. Okay,
let's back up. Sure. Define house music for me. What
house music is definitely a Chicago sound. It's when you think about what happened to when you couldn't call it disco anymore, right? So like really hard pounding disco, house music. But then that would be, that would grow globally. I mean, it's insane what house music has become. I mean, Usher has a house album. Major artists now put out house albums. It's just it's more synthesizers and heavy drum beats, and you know when you hear it.
Now you said you started this record label. Now, were you a performer at the time when you started it, or did you?
And thank you for the shout out to David Bell. Who's actually a cousin of a friend of mine, and he came to see me at a poetry reading, and he said, "Oh, you're kind of fun. Why don't we go around to bars and do this?" And I was like, "Really?" So we started doing that, and then he had the idea of my doing original poetry to just instrumental tracks. So we started doing that, and then it was, we should record some of these things, but we should have our own music. And that's how all that started, from basically coffee houses. That's how we kind of got our feet into it. And then people started hearing about it. And once Civil Defense became a hit in a very small hit. I want to say like 15 seconds of the 15 minutes in Europe. But it was, we had a video for it, and it was played on Rupert Murdoch, God, he's still alive, on his Sky channel 7 times a day. Wow. So we get a lot of exposure. And honestly, to this day, I still sell probably more music there than here.
Now, in 1984, did you release these on 8 tracks, or what was the format?
Because things had changed. We did singles, there were cassettes. Right?
Oh,
so there were singles where you get like a song on each side and maybe a bonus track or something. And then we were actually having records pressed in vinyl, pressed in New York, because I just felt the quality was better. And my approach to all of this was that the whole what was being produced in Chicago needed to sound better and look better. It just needed to be dressed up and taken to dinner. So that's kind of what I think our talent was between David and I. David had a fantastic ear for talent and spotting people, and then people again started coming to us. And then Frankie Knuckles came to a release party for Civil.
All right, back up. I've heard the name of Frankie Knuckles, but I know other people have too. But who was Frankie Knuckles?
Frankie Knuckles is now regarded as the preeminent house DJ of all time. Sadly, he's no longer with us, but in that same respect, he had a fantastic ear and was always looking for new talent. He didn't, it's only now that DJs can get these like 6-figure salaries. Yeah. They didn't then. They did well, but as far as being like a DJ could be a star, that was rather a new thing. And I would say he was probably the big star. And then of course he moved to New York and became even bigger.
Now, what was he a DJ on the radio or a DJ in the clubs?
In the clubs. But once we signed him and started recording his things, then you could hear him on the radio. So we brought him to that. And the Jamie Principal, who he had discovered, an extremely talented young man, and our goal with that was to bring him to a major label, which I am happy to say we did. And that is no small feat. And he went on to have his own career once he was done with us. He was done. But we were that stepping stone that he needed.
Russell has some pictures to show. Russell, show them to us.
So this is an interview I did in a magazine called Wax Poetic. It's a great title for a magazine. And about myself and David, and the author said, "We're pillars of the underground."
Quite dashing there, Dwayne Scott.
Yeah, well, 15, 20 minutes in the 80s. This is in front of a recording studio. They had done up the windows for a promotion.
Was that like fake snow and then they put a stencil up there?
Like, yeah, artificial graffiti.
Okay.
So let's skip ahead a little bit. So into 2012, I was approached by a French music label, and they wanted to assemble all the mixes that were done of Civil Defense. And I didn't realize that because it was my song. I thought, well, somebody mixed it, it's their song. No, it doesn't work that way. It's still my song. So there's about half a dozen different DJs and some prominent DJs. Ivan Smagghe, who's very highly regarded in France, of Kill the DJ, and Get a Room, which are it's a pair of guys that are very prominent European DJs. They've got tracks on there. So it's a compilation album just of one song.
Now, are these songs still available somewhere?
Oh yeah, it's Spotify, Apple Tunes, My Driveway.
So you're still getting some coin off of these.
Well, here's the thing. So here's an original one that was just flashed up there, right? That was the first one, and I hand painted every one with that luminescent paint. And if you can find one, they're like $250 online. Oh. You can find one. So I have one. And then I would license music to various labels. So I had a single on Terra Incognito, which they released something called Big Brother. It was a parody song of Laurie Anderson's Oh Superman. Who would do a parody song of a Laurie Anderson song? Only me.
Now, Dwayne, you started this record company. What were you doing before then that gave you the acumen to start a recording studio?
I was a paralegal, and I was working with a lot of lawyers, and two of them wanted to become music attorneys. I think this is kind of funny. And so I said, well, you know what? I mean, we've been thinking about doing this label. Why don't you come with us at a reduced rate, and you guys can learn the background of how to do this, as far as some of the things I just figured out as far as licensing music, but then we brought those guys in, and they were definitely helpful, but they were a little green. I've just always been that entrepreneurial thing. I was still doing legal word processing, so I had some income, and this is something I just did on the side until it kind of became too much, as things often do. You will know.
Yes.
That is Jamie Principal's Your Love, and you see what I mean as far as just putting out a regular 12-inch cutout, sleeve of nothing. I thought that wouldn't do it. And then when that came out, we were selling 1,000 copies of that record a day in Chicago. The kids would just line up around the court. We ran out of records over a weekend, and then having them pressed in New York. So the distribution was kind of wonky on my end, because we really weren't prepared for a hit.
I know you like to go to vintage stores, and well, you have one of your own. Have you ever run across any of your records?
I have not. Other dealers have, and of course, then they're running over with, "What's this worth?" And go to Discogs, go on Discogs and see what it's worth. And this is the album I released in 2021, which is "Beat the Poet," and the music video that you're going to see is the first video single off of that. I think you'll recognize maybe someone else.
So that album came out. Are they called albums? Is that
albums? Okay. It's an EP.
Okay.
Yeah.
That came out in 21, and so how did that do? How did you market that?
It was difficult because, again, just everything has changed. So, and keeping up with it all. So it did all right, but I also didn't do a whole lot to promote it. I was in the middle of, I was trying to finish my first book had come out in 2019. And so I was kind of in the middle of marketing that. And I just didn't feel I could do both accurately. It's a guy with the same face. Yeah. Isn't he somebody?
Okay, now tell us about Bedbug Love.
So Bedbug Love, I wrote during the AIDS crisis, and it might seem odd, but I think the lyrics reflect it. And when COVID came along, it seemed even more relevant. And my good friend Mark Contorno, who helps me with many things, many of my projects, he's been on me for ages to do a music video, and I'm going, no. Till we came up with an idea for it that felt right. And there's a line in it, and it's in a scourge, you don't feel the urge. In the same way. And enough time had passed. I felt it was, let's just say politically correct enough. And it might seem like how could this guy be talking about that? But I wanted to approach a topic in a different way. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a look at it.
Here we go. World premiere, folks.
It started like a Bible curse and crawled up from across the earth that barely said hello or goodbye. It reached inside my inner ear, then turned up in the atmosphere. It didn't give a when or a why. I tried to shake it from my head and give up all my dreams instead, but crazy drove me half insane. These dirty demons danced inside my broken guts were just a ride and burrowed deeper into my brain. Now there's no running from the powers that be. I'm in love with you, and you're in bedbug love with me. With me. Get me out of bedbug love. If you don't arrest while praying on what you just prayed. Blame it on the left side, blame it on the right side, blame it on what's happening today. I'm falling downtown, lost my pound, acting like a dead clown, dancing through my life on the stage. Blame it on my insides, blame it on my outsides, blame it on the pulse of the age. And in a scourge, you don't feel the urge. Get me through these bedbug days. Buggy days. Get me out of bedbug place. Better days.
Infestation, fumigation, hallowed nation, don't fight the bites of bedbug love. And since when was your salivation ever worth a spit?
I'm feeling down, down, go downtown, dancing with the dead sound, dancing through my life on a stage. Blame it on my insides, blame it on my outside, blame it on the pulse, blame it on the pulse of the age.
Well, longtime Amber Live viewers might recognize that dancer as our friend Jack.
Yeah. Is he amazing?
I love the suit too.
The suit is great.
Oh my gosh, how much fun is that?
Oh, thank you. It was fun to make, and Russell's the director of this. We should put that out there, and editor, and wow, everyone's worked so hard on it. And that's my friend Mark at the typewriter.
Okay. So where does it go from here? What are you going to do with that?
Oh gosh, well, it's going to be entered into a whole bunch of different music video contests, and just getting it out there. Obviously, YouTube, and there's so many streaming services. So I think it'll give the album a little shot in the arm that it needed. And that mix is by Bionic, who's a fairly well-known musician, and his name is Stefan Taylor, but he goes by the name Bionic. Everybody has all these names. How do we keep track of all this?
And if you want to see it, it is on the Amber Live YouTube channel as well, premiering tonight.
Tonight. You're the first to see it, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Make sure you like and share it. Okay, make sure you do that with that video. Dwayne Scotsoni, thank you so much for joining us tonight. That's a great song. Love seeing Jack move like that.
He's a star.
I can't wait for the making of Bedbug Love, the documentary behind that.
First, I have to make my bed to get around to that.
All right, Dwayne, thank you for tonight, and also thank you for all you contribute to Amber Live. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.